So this is a video I've been thinking of starting for quite some time now. Over the last year, at least, maybe during the pandemic, I began to realize that a big portion of why I liked collecting records is kind of gone from record collecting for me. Like going to a bookstore and going into the back and there's a box of records and the owner says go through them if there's something they're interesting, $1 or something like that, where it was more your taste and your knowledge of records and brand labels and bands and things like that and singers could kind of lead you to find things out in unexpected places. Whereas now, it's not unusual at all for me to go to a used record store, and there's somebody, usually a guy my age, at the new used section with his phone out, going through every record and checking its value, its rarity, etc. And just in general, the price of new records is just so high that it's just like a funny, even if you love the band and you buy a record and you think like, well, maybe I'll have this for a few years and I'll sell it. I don't know if you've tried to sell records, but it's essentially impossible unless you have some rare colorway of Taylor Swift or something contemporary, or then something like really rare from the past. It's basically almost impossible to sell a record for what you paid for it. So it's kind of an interesting thing because I have a lot of records and I don't have time to listen to them, yet I'm putting more records on my shelf all the time. So I do think that I am going to really slow down on what I buy. And something I thought could help me continue enjoying my record collection as well as occasionally purchasing new records is just to go through my records and listen to them. And I have my collection organized by genre, kind of loosely. And I just thought I'd start at the top and just go through them over the months. And I'd make a video on the records I listened to that week. And that would give me some motivation to listen, as well as get involved more with these videos. So hopefully over the next few weeks at least, I'll continue on with these videos. And I'm going to start now with the very first record in the top left corner of my collection, which is the Death Cult, which later became The Cult. And yeah, this record is, I think it's quite interesting actually. It's they have some keyboards and unexpected instruments, and I think they were going for a bit of a different sound, because when they got to become The Cult, especially on this record, their sound is much more produced, and their image is much more thought out. They have much, that the Jim Morrison aesthetic, I would say, with the singing as well as the look of the lead singer. But these are both records I enjoy, I really like. I haven't actually listened to this Cult record in a long time, and it was kind of an unusual sound for the time. I would say the only band similar in the same era, probably, which is what is next in my collection here, this In Excess. Again, the singer, similar in the way he sings, and especially in the image, Jim Morrison inspired as well. And I love this single. Just the aesthetic of it is really interesting and unusual. And Original Sin is, it says it in huge letters here. That's my favorite In Excess song. And this has like a dance mix of it, which is pretty interesting. I'm not sure that was such a huge thing in the late 80s, 90s dance remixes. You can see here, like, this image or aesthetic seems very different than what I just showed. This is the gatefold version of this In Excess Kick album. But yeah, this is very listenable. Very In Excess doesn't seem to get a lot of people don't mention them often enough. I think they're actually a great band. Guns in the Sky is a great song off this album. I think they just lean too heavily into their image, but they have a lot of great songs. except that one song, Never Tear Us Apart. That was always the last song at high school dances, and it's way too long for a slow dance. Up next, The. A band I think is a very polarizing band. I think a lot of people either really like them or just really don't like them. Um, this particular single for Infected, I have a bunch of the 7-inch singles, and it's all the same illustrator. I actually think it's a member of the band. I like the aesthetically as opposed to INXS, as far as like the look of these records. But yeah, I don't know. Theth are a band I want to like, but I don't know if I do. There's a few songs on these records that I like, I guess, but yeah, it's definitely a group I could live without these records in my collection, and I may sell them. They're interesting to read about. I don't know though, similar band, Talk, I'd say. I love, again, the way they've made these series, like on the singles with the similar illustrations. Talk, though, I know for a fact I like a lot more than The. That Take It to the Top, or no, Give It Up, which is on here, is an excellent song. I really like that soul, white soul, kind of music. The band that does this sound the best, I find, is the Blue Nile. I really like the Blue Nile, but I'm sure they got influence from Talk in their sound. Sort of jumping into a different genre here, the Smashing Pumpkins. This is a great album and great presentation. Love the album itself, the way it's presented. The gatefold, the metallic foil, and pretty much every song on here I really enjoy. The song I love the most and have always enjoyed, even from when I first heard this, is the song Daydream, which is coincidentally the only song that Billy doesn't sing on. It's Darcy. And it's funny to me that song Daydream, when it fades out and it fades back in and it's Billy Corgan singing, it was like he just couldn't stand to have a song on there that he wasn't a part of. Jane's Addiction. This is a funny album, it was very popular and very influential, and I can understand why, because it is a bit of a different sound. But now that I listen to it again, it sounds a lot like Mother Love Bone, where it's basically having like 80s hair metal in a way. It just has there's something tweaked about it where it's not heavy metal. And Perry's voice, I think, is EP voice. I'm not sure it works for a full LP, because it does get a bit grating. In short doses, I think Jane's Addiction are great, but listen to this full album, it's like I'm not so into it. The big hits on this are great, Jane Says, etc. But there are some super heavy guitar tracks, which I think are cool as well. It's just like I don't really think of that when I think of Jane's Addiction. Okay, Swervedriver. I have a few Swervedriver records. This one was a Record Store Day release from a few years ago, and this one just has this sort of unusual packaging. It kind of reminds me almost of Spiritualized had a pill packaging that maybe similar to this. Swervedriver, after re-listening, I can definitely do without my collection. It's like they haven't decided on a genre. Not that they have to, like of course everybody would say don't pigeonhole me or don't categorize me. It's just like it just seems too varied in their music, like it's like it seems like they're sort of an early version of Tame Impala. It's just Tame Impala does it way better, in my opinion. This is a really unexpected. This record's really great. Like, this was a very radio friendly was everywhere for a while album, Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. And I don't know, this album cover isn't exactly appealing in my opinion. Um, the aesthetic of things seems to be really important with me. But this is an incredible record. This is a great record sonically and just like the actual music. Because I don't think of Tears for Fears as a band. I think of them as like Simon and Garfunkel. When you think of Simon and Garfunkel, you don't think of the band. You think of them as singers. But sonically, this is very well recorded, and the music is very integral to the overall sound. And yeah, I highly recommend this if if you aren't really familiar with this outside of just the hits. Um, I highly recommend Tears for Fears, and their new album is really incredible as well. Last record I sort of deep dived into this week is Felt. And yeah, Felt are a band, with a lot of mystery around them. A lot has been written. I really like the band Codeine, and Codeine seemed to be maybe influenced by Felt. This poster kind of tells you all you need to know, I think, about the band. But Felt are a band, a rare occurrence in my opinion, that their instrumental work is far superior to their tracks with vocals. There actually is a lot of instrumentals, and it has a sort of an eerie quality to it that I think really works. I'm not as big of a fan of the sound of the singer's voice, but I do love their instrumental work, and I do highly recommend this album cover. I wonder if I'll get some sort of I wonder if this video will get taken down from me showing that album cover. Okay, well that was week one of me going back and trying to enjoy my record collection, and